This would answer the part A, and then part B, which is just a 1 mark question, right? That should give it away. You subtract what you started with minus the value you've lost, which we call the depreciated value. Sorry, the total depreciation. And then you end up with 23,700, which is the depreciated value. That's the term we used. It can also be referred to as the value of the car after 2 years and so forth. Okay. There's one more I want to cover. Or will I just move on? I think we're okay time-wise. So I'm going to just give you another one to try. And again, feel free to summarize, right? Christina plans to purchase a new Jeep Wrangler. And be careful with the 99s there. I added base price to that just in case you're not sure, right? And so at this point today, you should have, the first thing you should have looked back to is your study sheet. Like, can my study sheet help me with this? If the answer is no, then you need to start building it, right? You need to start having key components on there. Maybe a full example, right? Just make it nice and small. Don't take up too much space. And if you go back to the beginning of this unit, I talked about the big concepts that you're going to have represented on your study sheet. So after all of these entries here, it says determine the sticker price, which should mean something to you. Calculate the total cost after tax. And, I don't know how many years ago, but maybe 3-4 years ago, a provincial exam actually had that. It's like determine the sticker price of the vehicle. And some students hadn't seen the term or heard of it, so they left it blank. It's like, I don't know what to do here. And it's really just find the price of, right, the base, options, and transportation, if there is any. It's basically the cost before taxes. So this is the time to, give it a try, risk it. There's nothing to lose here. So there would be the answer to A and B. Okay, so for A is simply adding everything up. That's the sticker price. One thing this question does not have is a trade-in, a car that's being traded. That's something that's going to come up as we go over the assignment questions, like the homework questions. And I make a note here because after a while, we're not just going to have a new vehicle, but it's very important that you key in on that, right? That term, right, is a new new vehicle here. How do we know it's a new vehicle? It doesn't, well, it does say at the top here, actually, brand new, right? It's a new, so there is a new vehicle. So that means that basically you have to add 12% taxes to the cost, right? So after having determined the sticker price, you add 12%, that's what it ends up being. And then you have a choice to finance it, which most people will have to finance that, right? And so write it, if you want to write it down, go for it. And we'll go over some of those homework questions that I asked you to work through. So again, I'm not going to do a formal homework check. The homework check is often going to be coming your way in as an AC, right? Like to go through that and see if you're doing it all right. Okay. So let's continue. So we were on page 3 here, right? Good question. So let me just see here. On tests, are we going to have to define terms? No, but I will use them in my questions, right? So if you don't know what a sticker price is, then you might be in trouble, right? If you don't know what the depreciation is, right, you might be in trouble. So just be aware of them. You don't have to have the full definition on your study sheet, but know what I'm referring to. Okay, good question, Logan. Okay, so page 4. What I'm going to do here is go through the key and just give you the answers to these questions here, especially depreciation. We've just done it. So I will give you the answers and then you can check your work if you've done it, okay? Or if you want to do it afterwards. So the first one is 10,718.75. That brings the depreciated value to 13,781.25. Okay. So these are just the answers to those questions. Same thing with B. This is a 3-year process, right? The first one was only a 2-year, so this needs a little bit more room, just so you know. So this is 15,311. That should be the total after 3 years that you've lost. Okay, putting that in brackets. The depreciated value would be 16,064. That's it. 16,064 on the nose there. I think somebody, I don't know if it was Christine that brought up the number. If anybody joined late and I didn't call your name or you didn't let me know if you were here, let me know now, okay? Calculate the total cost of the vehicle. Jonathan, okay. Okay, so we have this chart here, and we are assuming that they're all new, so it's really just multiplying it by 1.12, so you get, okay, Jarrell, okay, 13,440 for this one. Maybe let's do it outside here. You don't really need all the space, but this is 19,644.80. And I make a note that this gives you 0.8 on the calculator. You need to make sure you add the 0 there if it's dollar values. And the last one is 33,598.88. So I'm going to do the questions that follow this, right? Because these are basic warm-up. So I don't want to spend time on those, not as much as at least. So write down the answers if you want to make sure you got it right. So next page, we have the word problems, right? And then after that, we're going to start talking about buying a used vehicle, which is a little different, okay? So after today, we will have covered buying new, buying used, and used is trickier. So there you have to be very careful with what's going on. And I'm assuming most of us will be buying our used vehicle. That'll be the first purchase we make, okay? And so you got to be careful there. And I will explain to you what to watch out for. Okay. So page 5, Kendra and Sam. And I'm going to grab my highlighter here. If you want to do the same, feel free to do so. They live in Manitoba. So by the way, all of our examples are Manitoba, okay? Other provinces will vary. So I don't do other provinces because it's just, there's going to be variations, and you're only required to know how to work Manitoba cases, okay? So we're buying a new car here. The base price is that, so I'm going number hunting, right? You must pay the following: $650 for delivery, $425 for freight, which is basically the same thing, but never mind, just highlight the numbers there. For heated leather seats, what's the total cost of the car after tax, right? And so basically what we do here, because it's a new vehicle, we're going to go base plus options plus freight, right? And if you want after tax, you're just going to have to multiply that by 1.12, right? So the base price of the car is 25,340. You add the 650, the 425, 250, 75, and I'm going to figure out what this is just like that. So I'm basically finding what the brackets would give me, and then I'm going to multiply it by 1.12. And if you do that, you get 26,665.75. And I'm going to multiply it by 1.12, which gives me 29,865.64. And I always circle my final answer, make clear that that's my final answer. And that's how much you would pay after tax. So watch out for the wording. Another way of saying after tax is including tax, right? So if it says including tax, it's the same thing as after tax. So you gotta add it to your final answer. If it says before tax, you would have omitted the times 1.12. One more thing. If it says what are the taxes paid, total taxes only, you would have had to turn this into 0.12. And then it's only the taxes that you're interested in. So reading is key. Reading the question is key, right? So here it is. The car is purchased with a base price of $27,800. The new owner wants to rust proof for $750. Find the total taxes paid. So here you would go $27,800 plus $750, right? Which would give you $28,550. And then we go times 0.12, right? And that gives you 3,426. Exactly. So taxes paid only. That's what you get there. Okay. Here we have a trade-in question, so I like to always identify those. So if you can make sure you have a trade-in question on your study sheet. Okay, so it's under buying. When you're buying a car, there's an option of trading in your old one, right? Especially if you're going with a dealership. You can even do a private trade, right? So Jenna wants to buy a new Honda Civic at the dealership, and it costs 22,000. You're adding 2,000 entertainment package, navigation package, and transportation. There's a trade-in for 6,500 for the old car. Calculate the total cost after tax. Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky. This is what you have to remember. Trade-in, take off before taxes. That's if you can remember that, the rest, the steps you take, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so here we will go 22,000 plus the navigation plus or entertainment plus navigation plus the 1350 for transportation, and then we're going to go minus. If you want to put it in brackets just to indicate that this is the car and all the options, and then you're going to go minus 6,500. Oops. 6,500 like that, right? This is basically what you are supposed to do first. So then you get just this part here gives you 26,225 minus 6,500. That will give you 19,725. And because you're buying a brand new car or dealership, you'll find out that if it's new or dealership, both of them give it away that it's 12%. So we go times 1.12, you get 22,092. So that is your final answer. If you had taken the $6,500 off here, like after adding the taxes, you would have had a different answer. So that's a common mistake. All right, Enzo, page 5 of your booklet, okay? So there we have another one. That one, I'm just, there's a trade-in again, so that's important. right? This is a simple question, not a lot of numbers being thrown around, right? But how much will you pay after tax? So it's as simple as taking off the trade-in and then multiplying it by 1.12. So that's 78.23 when you subtract times 1.12. That's 8761.76. Okay, so this question would really assess, do you know what happens when there's a trade-in? If you're doing, this would probably be a 2-mark question. If you get the trade-in wrong, you would only get 1 out of 2. Okay, if you subtract it afterwards, it's 1 out of 2. The top one here is probably a 3-mark question because you're adding a bunch of things and then subtracting and then adding taxes. So the amount of work goes with the marks. Okay, look at the marks. Another trade-in question, but this is probably a 4-mark question, and you'll see. Okay, so you buy a new vehicle. That's important to us. The base price is $25,600. You're adding power lock, power steering, automatic transmission. Freight will cost 8% of the base price. So you have to calculate what 8% of the base price is. And then there's a trade-in of 9 grand. How much will she pay for the new vehicle? It doesn't specify, so we'll say after tax. Let's add that here. Yep. Yeah, assume that it's like, just state your assumption. Like I would like say this is the price before tax, this is after tax, and then you're safe, right? Uh, I will make sure that I say that before after tax. Yeah, I'm pretty consistent with that. Yeah. Okay. This is like a living document, this book. So I always add things and I forget to. So here, sometimes you'll have to do the work. Okay, so let's answer this question. So you start with the base, all the options, right? We're gonna add our freight, right? So somewhere on the side here, it's 8%, which is 0.08 of the base price, which is 25,600. Okay, so let's figure that out. That's $2,048. Okay, so that gets added here as well. So all the options, transportation, let's take away the 9,000 right away. So I'll do this in brackets. So this is the car, the options. So this would be considered a sticker price. Okay, this is the trade-in. So when you add up all these here in the bracket, you get 28,443 minus the 9,000, which gives you 19,443. And we're going to add taxes to it. And that gives you 21,776.16. So this is a little added work here on the side, right? Figuring out what it is because it's a percentage. Making sure the trade-in happens before taxes are added. So this would be the price of the transaction, the cost of like final cost that Heidi would have to pay out of pocket before taxes, and this is after taxes. All right, so I did a bunch of trade-ins. So notice this, I did how many trade-ins? At least 3 questions here. So that should indicate it's like, okay, that's probably important for me to know. Okay, I hone in on that. Okay, let's talk buying a used vehicle. Okay, the biggest difference is when you're buying used, so you're gonna watch out for that word, like the word used should right away is like, okay, this is a different, yeah, go ahead. It's a different category, right? So I'm actually gonna start a new video here because I want